Hey, yo, y'all, what up, what up, what up? Yours truly is live a little earlier, but we live. So today we got a special guest, uh, Mr. Freeport, aka at some places Professor MGTOW, but as of now, just know him as Mr. Freeport. We might touch upon something, we might talk about the origins of his name. Maybe not as depending on the way the vibe goes, the way he might want to share the information with y'all. But y'all check out his channel. He has a lot of good information over there, especially about a lot of a lot of good things. Like he brought up Michael Camerism before. That's a great topic. And even the topic now, as y'all saw with the thumbnail, that was Leonardo DiCaprio, and he was in that particular thumbnail. He was Jack Dawson in the movie Titanic, and I believe this applies greatly with the Black Knight idea. But for now, I think it's just best that Freeport just explain Jack Dawson, without even thinking about Black Knight, so y'all can even see how everything ties together. So, without any further ado, what's up, fam?
Hey, brother. Thanks for having me, man. How you doing?
Man, I can't complain, man. Blessed and highly favored. How about you?
Hey, the same, brother. Blessed to be alive. Blessed to be enjoying this beautiful weather out here while we still can, while we still have some normalcy in this system. Just blessed to be able to be out and about, man.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
But as you were saying about the Jack Dawson, that Jack Dawson is a sort of a, I'm not going to say a character, but something I sort of came up with to describe certain traits that a man has when he operates a certain way. And I got it from the fact when it occurred to me watching the movie that the woman Rose, who he had met on the Titanic, he had only known her for about 3 days because I believe the Titanic sailed for about 2, 3 days before it went down at the most. And yet, after 3 days, their vibe, their relationship, his imprint on her was so strong and so everlasting that almost 70 years later, she was shedding tears just thinking about him. And she said she couldn't even remember what he looked like. But just the thought that she thought about him brought tears to her soul, man. And I believe when they say when a person dies, they think about the things that mean the most to them. It's safe to assume that when she passes, her mind will be on him. And that's almost 70 years later. A guy that she met for 3 days had that type of impact. And when I really thought about that, I said, okay, what does that take? What are the traits that really a man needs to have? How does he operate for him to have that impact? And I sort of threw that into the whole Jack Dawson thing. So that's where that came from. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's just about being able to have a woman's soul on a much deeper level than just the flesh and just the sex and just her mind also, but just having her soul, being that one guy that she will always remember for the days of her life. That's what Jack Dawson is to me.
Mm. And see, like this is totally opposite of what I've ever heard throughout this entire space. I'm not going to even just say manosphere. I'm just going to say this entire space. Uh, Even with the player places, like where they do the playerism, a lot of these ism channels, which, um, I'm not speaking against anybody, but it's like I just haven't heard this uh, way. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you said, it's on a deeper level. It's not even based on any like uh, certain game or certain manipulations. It's just more like a certain way you had an impact on her in just that short period of time.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
man,
You should want to be her. To want to be her, you want to be her God, man. honestly, the woman has to look up to you as her God. And if I did a video years back, talking about the pimp, the alpha, and the Jack Dawson, and I said the pimp
Mm,
and the alpha, they both have an agenda for the woman, where the Jack Dawson is the only one who has no agenda except knowing her and becoming her God is the agenda. But if you look at Jesus and what he's known for, he accepts people for who they are. He wants them to reach their optimal level. He tells them what they need to do to get to the optimal level. But he has no personal agenda as far as trying to manipulate them or getting them to do that, because he still has to do what he has to do. So at the end of the day, when you have an intention, it causes tension. You know what I'm saying? Intention causes tension between a relationship. So Jack Dawson doesn't have intentions. He simply wants to know the person. And when you simply want to know a person, good, bad, or ugly, it's going to bring about a whole different type of reactions and a whole different type of relationship. Something that's pure and something that they can trust on a level that most won't be able to.
and isn't that like what a lot of them at their core of their nature, um, given how they flow with their chaos, like the best way to like more or less like to deal with their chaos is to it's kind of like I would say control their chaos, but what I mean even better is like it's kind of like how they let certain fires burn out in the farm fields or out in the forest, like
Hmm.
you kind of
The
have to let
control
it do its
burn.
thing. Right. And I think that's also something that I believe Jack Dawson he was able to tap into, because you could probably answer this question just break unpacking that, meaning that fire pack, he said, what happens when a black knight runs into a damsel in distress? Technically, Jack Dawson ran into a damsel in distress on the Titanic.
He did. He did. What is the Black Knight? Can you explain what Black Knight is to you?
Oh, good question. Just even outside of the Jack Dawson talk, basically, um, of course, with we know what a white knight is. We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah,
So
plenty of those going
black,
around.
exactly. So the black knight in many ways is sort of counterculture, but at the core, to get right to the point, at the core, black knight is basically still the quintessential gentleman, the patriarchal archetype of today's times, which has lacked. Like there's not enough real gentlemen, enough guys that still carry about a certain way and still know a lot about the feminine psyche. He knows how to still tap into her. Yet he was never a player. He was never a pimp, and he was beyond the alpha thing. He just this quintessential gentleman type. Like even I would say James Bond kind of depicted that as well. He really
Mm,
didn't have a label to himself, but people knew he had a certain aura, like with the way he carried himself. And so I'm like, this is perfect because people couldn't really define this guy. They couldn't really put a hand on this guy. He also is the type of guy they would consider like the badass in a suit, you know.
right.
But people didn't know he was a badass until they saw him do what he do, like just threw them off. Um, so that to me definitely is something that I haven't really seen fully discussed in this in these spaces. Like um, what I have noticed is that if you heard like typical red pill talking points in these spaces about anything mentioning Black Knight, they think it's just Monk or just another version of Monk, and it's like no, that's not what it is. You know, because going back to the damsel in distress, um, basically you already know like what the White Knight would do in that situation. You know, we can break
Get it
that down.
simple. He gonna get it simple. In the situation with a white knight, he's gonna run to save her, and he's
Yep.
gonna put himself. He's gonna risk himself to save her, and he's gonna risk his character and he's gonna risk his integrity. He's gonna throw it all out the window to save
Yep.
that damsel of distress. Whereas a black knight is not gonna do that. He ain't risking.
Exactly.
He'll come over and give you some words of wisdom. Say be a gentleman, see if it's something he can help you with. But he's not going to step outside of his frame to do that. Nor is he going to inconvenience himself, not 1%. Where the
Facts.
white knight will inconvenience himself 100%. Look at the average white knight who gets married. Just say a guy marries a stripper with 3 kids. You know what I'm saying? He's inconvenienced his pockets financially. He's going to inconvenience his mental psyche because she won't be able to have any energy to help elevate him mentally. He's going to inconvenience his time because obviously raising somebody else's 3 kids is going to take a lot more time than if you were in a relationship with just a woman with no kids. You know what I'm saying? So you're inconvenienced on all levels depending on the way you choose to operate with a woman and the woman that you are choosing to deal with. And that's where the line separates. I mean, there's other things that separates that, but at the end of the day, one is not going to step outside the frame, and the others are more than willing to do it and don't even see a problem with it.
So that even makes you wonder. Like, I believe even in Jack Dawson's case, the Black Knight concept applies to where I believe he was opportunistic about the damsel he ran into, because she was truly a damsel. A lot of people don't even know what the term damsel even means. Just it means a young unmarried virgin. Like
Mm,
she hasn't been touched.
damn, damn. I ain't even think about that.
Hmm.
I haven't even thought about that. See, that's game right there. That's a little deeper thought right there. We all just see the movie and assume that I think they were. I'm not sure they were married. They were going to get married. They
Right.
weren't married because there was a scene that they took out where he tries to put a ring on her finger and she spits on his face. So they weren't married. And in those days, if you weren't married, you're probably a virgin. See, and I never even considered that. That's
Mm,
crazy right there. Most people haven't, and I can. I'm the one talk about the movie all the time. I never even thought about that. So if she was a virgin, his impact is even greater, man.
facts.
That's even greater right there. But see, this is why I like chopping it up with you, man, because you point out things that my mind might not even be seeing.
Oh man, for sure. I just figured like this was I for the longest, like when I was doing the because I've done many drops back in the day with Sunrise Hoodie, and all along when you was bringing up the Jack Dawson, I was like, oh yeah, we definitely got to chop it up soon because it ties right in. I'm trying to really get people there with it because imagine like you talked about it then, and guys still wouldn't get it. They would still like put a dislike on the video because they automatically assume Black Knight is Monk or Jack Dawson was supposed to be Monk. They just automatically go there. And it's like, no, there's another way you could go with this. There's two ways you could look at the damsel in distress. Like, and I believe in Jack Dawson's case, he saw the damsel and he was opportunistic about the situation. He knew she was for the taking, like literally. Like he saw that it was a feasible situation for him to 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 be able to get something out of that. On top of his own personal issues at the time. Like
Right.
it was like a win-win for him.
Yeah, because he really wasn't even, nothing was scripted. Once he got those tickets to the Titanic, he had no idea what the next day was going to be at any point. There was no plan after that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he had, oh, I got to go to America and I got a job lined up, and he had no idea what was coming. So everything was spontaneous and on the go. And he just happened to look up and like, oh wow, like he wanted her, And this is a different era. We talking about the 20s and the 30s. It ain't like 2021 social media. Women have a bunch of guys following. It wasn't the case. These are different days where relationships truly lasted back in those days. And if he had the opportunity, he wasn't just gonna pump and dump. He was gonna wife her up, have kids, family, all that. So it's not like he had player intentions on some MGTOW minded stuff. Nah, he was looking to build legacy with her. But another thing a lot of guys don't consider is that it doesn't just apply to women. You know, in the video, in the drop I did, the Jack Dawson drop I did, documentary breakdown, I showed a scene where he's inside the restaurant eating with those wealthy people. And just the way he maneuvered through the conversation of sitting with those people. Keep in mind, he was sitting with some of the wealthiest people on the planet eating dinner, and he was a poor man who had never experienced that type of lifestyle, never ate caviar before, never had that type of wine before. Everything was new. He didn't even know what silverware to use. But being a Jack Dawson, which is like I said, it's a personality, it's a mindset, a personality trait. He was able to maneuver that situation for him to prosper in it, and that's really what it comes down to. It's manipulating a situation for you to prosper, but doing it pure. Don't overreaching and acting like you know this. If you don't know, say you don't know. That's what he did. You know, when they asked him about who he is, because they figured he was a rich guy, he said, "Hey, the other day I was sleeping under a bridge, and today I'm here eating dinner with you fine folks." He never faked it. He told them what it was, and that's the honesty and purity is a major part. Like you say, with Black Knights and Jack Dawson, it's not just about the woman; it's about how the man maintains himself, his integrity, his character. That's the most important part that guys don't seem to get.
Mm. And to me, that's why I've told a lot of people lately, my bad. Um, no one actually is like born a Black Knight, but you have the personality that embodies it. Like no one is born a Marine, but you can have a certain personality that definitely could embody one. And so I believe not too many people embody that type of personality. A lot of people uh they'll equate it to something else, and it's like no, like because like you said, it applies on many different levels, not just women. Like it, but ironically, you can use this if you're successful at being a Jack Dawson around a bunch of the richest people in the world. It's a no-brainer you're gonna have that same success with women because it's just a certain personality needed in a certain situation.
Right. Most certainly. And when you're dealing with women, I've noticed a lot of my success was just them being able to, because it's pure. I really want to know who this person is. People want people to know who they are. Like nobody wants everybody. You know, why do people want to be famous? People want to be liked, right? People want to be cherished and adored, and damn near worshipped. It's part of the fleshly desires of humans at a certain level. I mean, everybody has wanted money, fame, and status before at some point in their life until they realize what that translates to inside the matrix. But you know, just look at it from that standpoint. What woman does not want a guy to know who she truly is? And now ask yourself, how many women are with men that truly know who she is? And that is the disparity right there. A lot of women are with guys who don't know them. They, for whatever reason it is, whether it's the guy's insecurities, maybe it's her insecurities, they are with people who don't know them. And a lot of men are with women that don't know them. A lot of guys don't, their families, their mothers. Hell, my own mother doesn't know me. She doesn't see my values. She doesn't respect my mind. She doesn't know how I think. When I die, she won't know who I was. You know what I'm saying? So who wants to be in a relationship with somebody like that? It's beautiful when you can be with somebody in any type of relationship and know who they truly are. You know what I'm saying? Even with your homies, if you're talking to your homies, you want them to know who you truly are, know who you think. If y'all out in public together, you got to know, okay, his mind is sharp enough to be scanning for threats. You know what I'm saying? I like to sit with my back against the wall and my front facing everybody. But let's say I'm out eating with 3, 4 of my homies, right? I gotta trust in order for me to give up that seat. You know what I'm saying? Because these are men we're talking about. You know, I can't go to some other men and be like, "Hey, yo, let me get that seat so I can watch." They were like, "Hell no!" Like it's unfathomable. That's something you would do on a date. But I have to trust that these guys are sharp enough to view threats the same way I view it. You know what I'm saying? Even as a firefighter, when I go into a fire, I got to trust that these guys, I know them well enough to know how they're going to operate when certain things happen on the fire grounds because my life is dependent on knowing who's better at this. Some guys are better at going into the fire, and some guys are scary going up on the roof, and some guys are too heavy to be on the roof. You got to know who you're dealing with, and that's how the Black Knight Jack Dawson thing sort of translates into the success with women because you're taking that mindset. I want to know everything about you. You know what I'm saying? And a woman finds that comforting because most women love to hear about themselves and love to know that you are loving hearing about them. Because they're sort of selfish like that, but you use that to your benefit, and that's what they do.
Facts. So that kind of goes back to another question. Excuse me. Fire Pack brought up. He said, "How does the damsel in distress view the Black Knight, and what does the damsel want from the Black Knight?" Well, if you think about the scorched earth, she's obviously yelling for help. So, that is it's a time for rescue. It is, but like you said in your case, if we're dealing with fires, there could be certain procedures you might have to have the person do before you would have them even evacuate. So it could be easier for you to apprehend them, if you will. It might be a situation where if you did try to get too close to them, it could be unsafe for the whole rescue. But if they came just an inch closer, if they listen to your instructions, then that could make a difference between life and death. If obviously,
Right.
yeah,
It's think about saving a drowning person, man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes if you jump in the water to save somebody and they going crazy, they'll bring you in there too. So sometimes you got to knock them out. That might be the first thing you do if you jump in the water. It seems crazy, but that's what I would do. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was taught in our fire rescue, water rescue training. If the person's acting all wild and frantic, take off your glove, knock them right in the temple, knock their ass out. Hit them with, take a tool, hit them right in the temple, knock their ass out. And it seems crazy. Like imagine a guy jumps in the water to save a person and knock them out with a tool, but life and death. If you don't and they continue to be frantic, they're both going to die, including you. And that's not the purpose. So they have to do what needs to be done for you to help them. You know what I'm saying? They have to do what needs to be done or be in the right state for you to be able to, deliver that assistance to them. They have to recognize it, and some women might not recognize it. Hell, look at Rose. She ain't even want to fuck with when he tried to pull her back into the boat. She was gonna jump. You know what I'm saying? The only reason why she didn't jump because his ass was about to jump in with her. And she's like, you know what? I don't want to take, even though my life sucks right now. I don't really want to take this innocent man's life as well because of me. But if it was just her, she would have done it. When he sold himself, when he said, "Look, I'll jump in and save you," she had to think twice about it now. You know what I'm saying? So even before that, she wasn't even trying to get his help to save her own life, man.
dang, that's definitely a drop there because this also can be something even more polarizing to think of. Obviously, with everything you just explained, was unconventional. Um, it reminds me of when I was working at Amazon for a couple of months, and when I got out in the field, and I'm going somewhere with this. So when I got out in the field, they told me put all those things you learned, throw that out the window. You know, that doesn't apply. And I think a lot of the game talk I've heard, it just sounds very conventional nowadays. Because there are things you're gonna have to do with women and with people that is very unconventional. Even Jack Dawson, he was the way he was doing things was very unconventional. but yet it was effective.
Hmm. Exactly. You got to break rules sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But that part of, but then that goes into the personality as well. How many people were willing to take, going back to the beginning, the first scene, they took, remember, he was, I don't remember the guy's name, his homie though, the Italian guy. Um, they were sitting down at a bar playing poker for the tickets. His friend had emptied out his mom's life savings. Jack Dawson emptied out his family life savings. Because you remember he said, tell your mom, he said something to his friend, like, tell your mom she's not coming back or something like that. Because he had literally taken everything that he had from his mother to bet against those tickets for the Titanic. So think about the type of mindset of a person who would empty out their parents' life savings and everything they work for in the hopes that they will win this poker card game and go to Titanic. Because he knows once he gets to America, America is the land of opportunity, and it is. It is. If you have vision, anything you want in this country, you can access it. Now you're gonna have a glass ceiling most of the times, depending on a lot of factors, and it's not just race, but it's more so your bloodline. But at the end of the day, think about that mindset. You know, they willing to risk up. Most people are not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? That right there embodies Jack Dawson as well. Again, like I said, it's not about the woman. It's about the mindset, the risk you're willing to take. As you say, doing things that are not so conventional to get the results you want. And you saw that all throughout the movie, that he was doing things. He wanted her. When he said, you know what, goddamn, I'll jump into this freezing cold water to get her and I'll save her. And the reality is he'll probably die with her. But he wanted her. He knew that he wanted her that much. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to build a legacy with her. He bet everything he had on the poker to get on the Titanic. He knew he wanted that. He wanted America so much. So at the end of the day, man, it's about risk taking as well. Doing what's not conventional, doing what you need to do. I said that on the drop this morning, not doing what you want to do for success, but doing what needs to be done in that moment. Because within Jack Dawson is also a level of Pablo as well.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because I was even mentioning, I was thinking about getting to the point of Pablo with this idea of Jack Dawson and Black Knight, because even when he had to fight some her rich would be husband, like he didn't care. He was ready. He was ready to go because he already had the vision in mind. He already knew if he had to do something, it was tied in with the vision. So it's like, okay, it's a given. I'm going to have to do something unconventional. And I think that can easily lead you to Pablo at times, just because, like you said, whatever it takes to stick with the vision.
Right. Exactly. And then thinking about it, that's what Pablo messed himself up because he lost sight. His family became a distraction from the vision. And he chose his family, and that's what got him roped up. If he would have chilled on his family and just let him go, he would still be alive today. You know what I'm saying? But he couldn't. He lost sight of the vision. He lost sight of sacrifice and everything else. And sometimes you have to sacrifice to get what you want. You
Mm,
know. And even Pablo did. Because Pablo did a lot of nigga shit too. You know what I'm saying? Ain't make no mistake about it. He was king nigga shit. And
mm,
because he had power and money, it didn't catch up to him as quickly, but it easily could have.
mm. I think to me, the most Black Knight scripture in the Bible is without vision, the people perish. Because if you
Yep.
think about it, people are not going off vision, they're going off on what somebody else wants them to see. And we see
Right.
this every day in the Matrix.
They're
No
functioning
one
what I
has
call it
vision.
the conveyor belt, the conveyor belt of fuckery. That's that programming that society programs you. Go get a college degree, go get a wife, two kids, a picket fence, buy you a mortgage, get you some college debt, get divorce rate, go ahead and do it again. That's the conveyor belt of fuckery. Society is programming you to continually be a debt slave and die, and then pass your debt on to your kids, and then they'll do the same thing. That's a system that they want you under. It's not vision. It's not your vision. It's all society's programming. And we know who society is programmed by.
Yeah, that's facts, man. Yeah, there's so many angles we can look at this for sure. So right on the nail with what Firepack said about Black Knight lives outside the Matrix, whereas the White Knight um, is stuck in it. Now, there's two ways to look at that. Firepack. He actually maneuvers through the Matrix like Neo did. Like for the most part, yeah, he's gonna be outside of it, but he's gonna still maneuver through it versus being stuck in it like the White Knight, going through the scorched earth. He's not even, like you hear some of the playerism talks, making moves on the chessboard and all that stuff. But a Black Knight, he don't even move on a chessboard. He don't. he
Right.
just he walks through the field, literally, like even the field out what they call the blade. He's walking through all that stuff. He just sees things. And so kind of goes back to this talk of everybody misunderstood Demsel. And obviously, you just now you know what it actually means. But see, now you got what all these married non-virgins. They think they're themsels, even though the proper term for them would be spinster. And
Mm,
as of late, I think it wasn't that long ago, UK actually outlawed that term spinster, and now it's just single woman. Ironically, that's what they now use here in the United States. That was adopted from the UK.
wow. That's crazy. I didn't even know that's what those. I thought a Spencer was an old lady, like another term for a cougar.
Oh yeah, the actual term for the spinster, it is even it even talks about it in the Bible. But see, the thing is, um, it was about a woman having the spindle, but she did that for her family. Now,
Mm,
if she's a spinster making clothes for society, that's because she doesn't have a family to make clothes for.
I got you. I
Hmm.
got you. And she doesn't have any leadership, so her work is going in vain, unfortunately. Like
Hmm.
many women out here are going to, unfortunately, are going to perish alone or just have a much more difficult life because they're doing it all on their own. They don't see the value of, having that leadership, having a man. A lot of women don't see the value of a Jack Dawson too, man. If we're gonna be honest with you,
Hmm.
they don't see the value of a Black Knight because, again, it goes back to my most famous quote, Lord Rithians 1:1. Why be a queen to a king when you can be a god to a simp? Like that quote right there, that's got to be written down in some publication one day, man, because it's never failed. You know what I'm saying? It never fails. Most women want to be entertained and they want to be God to their simps, bro. And when they come across a Jack Dawson, it puts them in a very unique position because
Facts.
they love that type of freedom that they have, but they also love being God. I mean, who would turn down the opportunity to be God?
Hmm.
If
It's
you can do it right now, you say, well, okay, you got one wish. You want to be God or you want to be something else? Who's going to turn that down?
mm. That's so deep because and that's why they don't that's why I've always felt like even with Jack Dawson, the other aspect of him that I believe ties in with the Black Knight was he had this level of being mysterious too. But these females that want to be God to a simp, they're like they try to think like they're a god. They like, how are you going to try to be more mysterious than me? And it's like
Mm,
you're only mysterious within your world, but reality is a little different than what your world embodies.
right.
Um, and I also think, like, kind of going back to what you said earlier about how they just want to be with somebody and they don't know them, like, even like your mom's not knowing you. Like, to me, all relationships, for the most part, today are just transactional. So
Hmm.
uh, that's why they're so key to talking about this high value man stuff because it's like they talk about getting to know somebody, but that's smokescreen. They want to get to know them that money. They want to get his earnings, and so they ultimately want the high value man to simp to see her as God, to what, give her offerings, his rich offerings. Isn't that what Drake just did, buying out a stadium the other day?
Yep. Exactly. For a single motherhood rap, which is the saddest part. Even with as much fame and success he has, he's still validated externally. And he's still not happy with himself. And I did the drop this morning. I mentioned Scorpio men and how they operate, how many are validated externally. That's another trait that with a Jack Dawson, he's going to be validated internally. And that's why, when you look at the partner that Rose had, he had the $1,000 suits and the blue diamond he purchased her and all these materials and looked all fresh and proper. And Jack was dancing just like a bum, you know. But Jack was more confident in who he was. It wasn't about the materials and the money he had. He was validated internally. And when we talking about the Black Knight, I'm pretty sure that's one of the requirements as well.
Yeah, that's facts. And I've mentioned how people misunderstand the Black Knight from the Bad Boy. They're not the same. I believe that the Bad Boy actually imitates a lot of the ways of the Black Knight. You sell a girl a dream, you tell her everything she wants to hear. You even look a certain way, but on it looks good on paper, but in reality, it doesn't actually take place. After he pumps and dumps her, and so she's left with this image of a guy that she thought was quite rare, but he's actually still quite ordinary underneath, given how he left her. Like he did her in a way no different than any other guy has dealt with her. And so I've often have equated a lot of guys like that to just being shapeshifters, because
Mm.
a lot of these females today are so blind they don't even know how a guy is running their same game on them.
Unpack that.
Because everything that kind of like see the thing is that yeah, I want to leave a lot of blade talk out of this live stream, but we're gonna say for the octanes, not the diesels. Um, they basically, like you said, going back to this idea of being a god to a simp. Um, what do? They sell a lot of guys a certain dream too. All these guys that are actually desperate for a woman. You know, they
Right.
they'll sell these guys a certain dream, and you'll be thinking she's really operating in her femininity, but then she'll throw a curveball. Whether it was good sex or she'll do a certain deed. Mainly it's the good sex though, but
Mm-hmm.
that'll make the guy just want to, like, yo, I'm gonna keep that bath water running for you. I gotta, I can't stop drinking your bath water. I'm gonna do what it takes. I'm gonna show you that I love you. I don't want you to think that I'm ever gonna leave you for another woman and stuff. So, and so similar to that, and of course, you could add abuse to that factor too. How some chicks would be verbally abusive to a guy, so that causes him to address the ultimatums. But the bad boy is kind of similar, to where he could come off as real nice at first, but yet he has
Mm-hmm.
this certain edge. But he really doesn't want it. He just wanted that feeling, and
Right.
he's his emotions are similar to hers in being feminine in a certain way, to where he's night and day. But the fact that he had her feelings the type of way gets her hooked. And so
Mm-hmm.
now, since he knows that, now he might have a different idea. Well, I need you to do this. I need you to get up me some of your stimulus money. I'm gonna need your car for 5 days. I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna do with your car, but I'm gonna need your car for 5 days. Uh, Here's my phone bill. Pay that. Uh, or even just as simple as, he don't know how to cook, so he gonna come and get something to eat, break her off some of that digmatizing sex, and then leave. But
Yep.
that's why she likes him over. So yeah, that's how they do it.
That is pure facts right now. Let me look at the comments. Make sure you guys get the likes up. Ref said that's heavy. Your mom don't even know you. I mean, what mother really does know us? What mother does know us, man? When you're outside the matrix and they're inside the matrix, how can they know you? It's impossible. You know what I'm saying? It's truly impossible because you see the world a much different way. If she's white Jesus and I'm on y'all lenses, it's just no way. And it's sad, man. It's just sad how it is. Like I said, your own parents, they will never be able to see your value because the programming they came into was much different than the programming you came into. Because our programming in the YouTube era, we were able to research and cross-examine what we were taught. They didn't have any tools to cross-examine, so they just took it as law.
Facts. Yeah, it's kind of even. I think the most Black Knight thing Jesus even said was when he told everybody, the disciples, my family. I don't know you talking about my mom. I don't know who she is. Uh,
Damn,
this is my family. And then one time when he addressed her, he didn't say mom. He said woman.
damn, that's deep right there. And you know what? It's almost bad that we're not doing it. Like we honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, we probably should be saying woman. You know what I'm saying? Now that I'm really thinking about it, but the fact that we're born into these single mother homes, we over here saying mom, that we probably shouldn't be saying that. Now I really got to think about that. You know what I'm saying? Woman sounds disrespectful, but in reality, it's just an establishment of the position and a ranking order that we're in. Really.
Yeah, now and I think usually, it still puts you in a nurturing position when you say mom. And it's like,
Hmm.
nah, I'm a grown ass man. I'm good. Like I'm not in that position. Don't, don't, don't treat me like a little boy and grab my cheeks. And I think that's also part of the white knight aspect of this. These guys still wanting to feel like mama's boy.
Yeah,
And yeah,
they definitely. There've been many videos about male mothering, and this is why so many, in the black community, so many guys seek mothers to take care of them. You can see so many black guys sitting in the passenger seat. So many black guys, a woman paying for the groceries, paying for the food. They just in the back seat. She takes care of them. Now she won't take care of a lord. She'll take care of a thug simp. Somebody, as long as you worship her and she's your God, and she'll gladly take care of those things. But you see this desire for women to not only have a guy that they can be a mother to. They want to mother instead of nurturing, which is a drop. But men are also looking to be mothered as well. In a
facts,
large scale in our community, I see it all the time.
facts. Yeah, it gets to the point of where they complain about, well, I don't take care of a man and all that. Even though she's designed to be a helpmeet, she's misconstruing the two. But she's only saying that out of spite of all the different thugs that came up in the crib and really didn't have no vision for her. But
Right.
it's like at the same time, um, she gets mad when you don't need her that much. She gets mad
Yeah.
about that too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because most don't know how to. When you got a guy like who cooks, cleans, pays his own bills and all that stuff, you know, that's how typically be when I'm in relationships. If a woman stays with me, I'm usually doing all the cooking and cleaning. Just that's just what I do. If I do it when I'm solo, why am I not gonna do it when she's there? So it doesn't leave them much to do. Therefore, they be feeling left out. Like, yo, what do you need me for? Well, because I need you for the non tangible shit. You know what I'm saying? I need you for the soft skills, the peace that you bring, the different insight that you have on certain problems that I may need a solution to. I don't need the physical aspect more so as the mental. But that's the problem. They spend so much time working out on the physical aspect and not enough time on the mental.
facts, man. I mean, and I think that's definitely where they feel that void or that disconnect is because they haven't realized they um as uh as King Ref has said before, they haven't done enough self actualization to know these things. And I feel that's why also in many ways them seeking this idea of a high value man is a cop out, because nobody's not going to even have any type of an investment in you if they don't even see that you have value and you don't appreciate their value. And
Right.
since most would not, like you say, appreciate the value of a black knight, most of these chicks would just be rendered to burn and scorch earth. He'll just walk past most of these chicks that are in distress, whether they're a damsel or a spinster. Because
Hmm.
I've ran into some virgins. She might not have had a body count though, but she still had a head count, if you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So,
Or an anal count too, because a lot of white girls,
woo.
they be on that. They might take, I know a chick was 15 years old, 13 years old. She was getting ran through raw. Every day when she walked home, she would stop by this older guy's house and get raw anal cream pie every school day. When she was like 13 years old, sleeping with a 40-year-old. Raw anal cream pie every day walking home. But yet, she was a virgin. So imagine the psychology, man, because you take a soul and imprint. The imprint is even deeper with anal sex than with vaginal sex. And we know about that due to Aleister Crowley and his writings, and how anal sex, especially with boys, is what they use to harness power for the dark side. And that's why a lot of them do the homosexual adrenochrome style of rituals in Hollywood, because they believe that's how you harness the most power. So that even when it comes to that, if a woman is a anal champion but a virgin, you lost her even more so. Like, and that's a drop in itself right there. Most people don't realize.
Facts. And I've noticed how, we talk about uh the butt all the time, but that's looking at the back of her. The butt goes right to thinking about anal. Uh, that of course that's prison talk, penitentiary talk. That's another conversation. But it's like, okay, you turn her around, you don't see the butt, you see the hips and the thighs. That's the virgin part. It's like
Mm.
the butt is actually for a man to hold, not the first thing for him to behold, if you will. But that's because, yeah, it's shifting to anal. I think there's going to be more anal talks in the future, more analizations in the future.
That's facts, man.
You
That's
know,
fact. And it goes deep, man. It goes deep, bro.
yeah,
Obviously, sex is a huge part on the imprint. You know what I'm saying? If we go back to the Jack Dawson, it plays a big role, but that's after, what I'm saying, as white buddy Alex says, you fuck the mind first, then you fuck the pussy. And Black Knights and Jack Dawsons, they will go without sex, waiting until they have penetrated that mind. It's another important trait with the two, that the sex is not the end game. The mind and the soul, capturing those two are the end game always. No matter where you're at, no matter the woman, or you know what I'm saying? Now there's certain variables. Obviously, if you're out of town on vacation, for 2 days, you ain't trying to really capture a soul like that. You might just be trying to hit something new in a new place. But at the end of the day, on a learned term, that's the mindset. Want to have that soul, want to have the mindset before the mind, even before we begin thinking about sex. And you'll see that between both Black Knights and Jack Dawson, because they know that's what's going to get you the most. You know what I'm saying? Because they view women as assets. So when you're viewing a woman as an asset, the whole rule and game plan is different, because you're trying to get different things out of her. You're trying to get her to help with your vision.
facts, man. And I think people just don't understand. Like, even if they even looked at the movie, they don't understand that Jack Dawson dealt with that chick in stages. Like, he didn't even have sex with her until he knew. Like, I mean, yeah, he saw the opportunity to pursue her, but before he even had sex with her, he had to know that she was all in. And then when he knew that she was like just more so mesmerized, that's when he knew at that particular moment. But it took her getting there first
Right.
beforehand.
And it took a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, think about it. In 2 days, the chick almost committed suicide, and you know what I'm saying? Think about that. Like, think about the emotional vulnerability. When he met her, it wasn't a typical, oh, she's in the mall and I went and approached her. Nah, she was about to kill herself. You know what I'm saying? Like, just from that one meeting right there, he caught her at an emotional state. And the more opened up her emotional pores are, the greater your opportunity to imprint her with your philosophy and knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And it was he had her at the right moment. And that's why I used to say I like a lot of trauma girls too. But you know, I'm different about it now. I'm more picky about the trauma, type of trauma. But you know, that was my thing back in the days because you can get more out of a trauma chick because just those pores being open, the emotional pores being open allows them to soak up your energy a whole lot more.
Oh yeah, but keep in mind, who's to say that she didn't even have that beforehand, before she even got on the Titanic? She probably had all the stresses of being married to this ultra rich guy because of uh her, I guess at the time, her purity, or however way a person wants to say that. But she probably had a lot of stress behind that. She probably didn't even like him. Like, we really don't know. But I think, like, yeah, that the I think the trauma still plays a part. It just different levels. Obviously there's some traumas that are just too much. But yeah, I think given the way the movie depicted it as her being of a damsel instead of a spinster, um, that's another that's another angle on it, because that could mean the imprint could be more everlasting. But who knows? Maybe there's another twist to it where if you did reach out to a spinster, it could also be everlasting, depending. Because I tell chicks all the time, just because a guy you claim that he had sex with you doesn't mean he fully took your virginity,
That's a
because
drop.
he just penetrated your pussy. He never penetrated your mind.
Right. Right. That's fact. And going back to what you said about the Spencer, shit, I'll take a Spencer. Oprah's a Spencer. If she busts in right now, I'm dropping a knee off rip. You know what I'm saying? It depends on the woman who has value or not. A lot of guys, there's a phrase where King Rep talks about guys being obsessed with purity and her number count and this and that and her past. At the end of the day, I don't care about any of that shit. I'm looking at how can you help the vision. If you can help the vision a whole lot because let's say you're Cardi B, who's a Instagram spinster, if you want to call it, she still has the influence and the network and the access to be able to help bring the vision plus more to you in a hyper flight speed, man. She could shave years off the grind, literally 20, 30 years off the grind, and get you in a position to have it right there. You know what I'm saying? And you wouldn't even need to marry her. And she'll do that for you
Mm,
just by being a Jack Dawson, just by being that
mm,
person that she can talk to. And yes, she's married to some rapper. Yeah, but she's still fucking her Jack Dawson too. I guarantee you, Cardi B has a Jack Dawson locked up in prison somewhere, and she still call him up here and there and still sing commissary. Why? Because he knew her before the industry. He knew her before all the glitz and glamour. He truly knows who she is, and women like that.
mm. Yes, they do. I mean, that's usually the guy they never fully walk away from. They might have him on the shelf, and this is kind of where this also goes against a lot of the talks out here, of this whole dual mating strategy aspect. Um, well, I think there's one guy that never fitted in with the dual mating strategy, and I believe that guy is the Jack Dawson.
In what way?
Because I believe, like, of course, alpha fucks, beta bucks, we can, but yeah, we don't have to go over that. But this was never really her intent, or she never really even had in mind to have a certain future. Like, even in, like, the way it even went down in the movie, it wasn't even expected. Like, he never expected to get her. Well, he did think about family, but then, like, when the time came when he was about to, to drown,
Mm-hmm.
he thought more of her future. He wished her the
Mm.
best, and she just didn't know at the time. it was just an experience for her. She didn't know how he would rock her world. She never even met a guy like him before. He was totally like a totally different experience versus the normal strategies, the normal kind of guys she's told about growing up that she must acquire.
Right. That's on point right there. That is on point. I'm looking at these charts right now. So basically, you take a therapist role. I mean, yeah. I mean, you should take that role with anybody you're about because if you feel that you're confident in your ability to read people and your ability to navigate the world and your ability to see things clearly, you really are a therapist. Anyone who comes around you, really, man, dog, whatever, because you have the lenses. When you have y'all lenses, you see the world clearly, and everybody who's a therapist sees the world clearly. So yeah, you are taking a therapist role. That is 200% on point.
Wow, I believe like this particular version of the Black Knight series is it's just basically cracking open the can of pop. Like we haven't even sipped it, but maybe it's just
Yeah.
that. Let them open up the can, let them hear the bubbles. Leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll have some more coming down the line. This will be short today because we both out in different parts of the country right now doing some exploring.
For
So
sure.
we'll definitely have to unpack quite a few topics that we pop the can on, as you said.
Yeah, man. Any closing statements? Any little final things you want to say before you bounce right quick?
Hey man, I just want to thank you for having me on. And I want guys to understand, sure I think most people listening are outside of matrix minded individuals. I recently have told a lot of my friends, like not a lot, but a couple that I'm real cool with, like, guys, stop with all the MGTOW videos and stop with all the, I told one of them, slow down with the COVID videos and the MGTOW videos. Like, you get it. We get it. You know what I'm saying? We both, it's like when I was younger, I used to watch a shit ton of Illuminati and Hollywood videos, right? Satanism in a rap game and all the symbolism. I haven't watched one of those videos in so many years because I already understand it. So I think guys, if you get to the point where they understand it and they start to operate as a as Jack Dawson would, because that is that's the higher level. Once you get past all absorbing all that information, then you have to implement it to make your life easier. So I want guys to strive for that point. Black Knight and Jack Dawson is just not about females, man. It's about you getting to where you need to be in life. You chasing your vision, you chasing your goals. So always make that the number one thing every day. That's it.
All right, fam. Do your thing out there, man. Be easy, stay blessed.
All right, thank you, brother. You be blessed. You be safe out there, man.
All right, man. Appreciate that.
All right, one.
All right now. All right, everybody. So I like to chop it up with y'all for a few more minutes before we get off the air. Anything else y'all want to say? I know Freeport slightly broke up a little bit, like you couldn't hear some of the things he was saying based on where he's at right now. Little bad signal slightly. It depends on where you're walking at, where he is, but basically all he was saying was we got to implement things a little differently in life versus what we're seeing happening right now. Uh, a lot of people just think that the way out of this matrix is just going monk. I mean, that's fine for some people, and that's one way you can go. However, there is another way you can go. Try being a black knight. That's another way to go. And I'm not here promoting myself as a black knight or anything like that, but I just believe that there's another way. And I just wanted to share that with y'all so that, we can give, especially a lot of the young guys, just a lot of different alternatives, a lot of different avenues they can look at things. Heck, you're hearing out here, guys, about, I'm gonna teach you how to be a player today, right? You hear some guys still talking about this pimp and you dig. You know what I'm saying? You hearing that? You hearing even guys talking about being a simp. You know, you got to still worship your queen. You got some guys talking about being a trick. Okay. You got some guys talking about being a monk, of course. You got all that. You got guys talking about being alpha, beta, sigma. You know, you hearing all this. So how come guys can't learn about this idea of a black knight? How come? How come he can't? I'm just saying. So based on what Freeport is saying, and I just want to tie this in, and we're going to probably talk about this just to give y'all a hint, because we definitely going to do a repeat of this Black Knight talk. I just wanted y'all to unpack the Jack Dawson, and not that I'm sponsored by the Titanic movie, but y'all need to see that and see how Leonardo DiCaprio was as an actor representing Jack Dawson in that movie. And it'll tie right in with all that I've been saying about Black Knight. And if you haven't checked out that playlist at my channel, check that out. It's called A Black Knight's Perspective. It's a it's oh man, it's a loaded playlist right now. It's actually my most viewed playlist on my channel right now. I kid you not. So it's loaded. It's worthwhile. I have many other people that have been in that playlist. People like who you just heard, Freeport. There's also Ice Turner Senior. Shout out to Ice Turner. Uh, there's uh, there's Venom. Shout out to Venom. There's Sunrise Hoodie, the one and only, the honorary Sunrise Hoodie. But yeah, it's definitely worth um worth a listen to. You said Fire Pack, teaching young man to be a black knight. Oh, not a pimp though, not a pimp, not a pimp. Mm-mm. Black Knight, not a pimp. If anything, Black Knight is more of a Mac than a pimp. Okay. But without me even saying the term Mac, because people are just overplaying the word Mac lately, which is why I've been just kind of shying away from it myself. But Ice, he's going to carry on the whole Mac era thing, you know, because I know I've had my affiliations with that, and you know he was on the whole Macology and all that talks before I started to really chime in with my perspective of Macking. But I decided to kind of shy away from all of this talk because people just overplay on words, but you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot overplay on this idea of a black knight. You cannot overplay on the idea of who Jack Dawson really was. You can't. There's no way. There's just no way. This is so original. Hey, what's good, Absalom? What's good, fam? What's good? But but yeah, with that said, what I want to say before I jump off of here, uh, yeah, me and Freeport, we gonna talk about what's really going on right now in this space with all these guys that believe that the solution to all this is just to go your own way. Going your own way, we get that. However, going your own way is not the only solution. Being a monk is not the only solution. But there are some people that truly understand monk that I do listen to. And of course, Sunrise Hoodie, he one of them. But a lot of people, that's not the majority of people. Okay. So we dealing with that and we're addressing that to let y'all know that there's more than one way you can go about dealing with all this that's going on. You don't just have to go your own way to deal with all this. Learn about being a black knight. Learn about being a black knight. Okay. Let's get right to the core. Let's get right to the core. We all were born white knights in many ways, but only a few of us actually become black knights. Just because you're born into something doesn't mean you have to be a part of it. Just like it says in scripture, we're all born into sin, but that doesn't mean you have to continue to live in sin. That doesn't mean you have to continue to be a white knight, especially if you have a personality that makes you less prone to being a white knight or making you less prone to being sinful like others, or like I would like to say, just being more reckless. Uh, but we're gonna talk more about that. We're gonna talk more about how there's more than one way you can deal with the matrix besides just going your own way. We're gonna talk about that down the road, okay? Because we just seeing that things are taking another turn out here, and all I've been doing with my content is just showing y'all another way besides going your own way. But yeah, with that said, man, I hope y'all bless. I know this is one of my earlier live streams I do, but I've always been considerate of one's schedule, and so Freeport, his schedule was to it that I had to do the live stream a little earlier. So I know for some, you thought I was going to go live with Freeport maybe later on in the day, but we had to shoot for early in the morning, and I just happened to be up because I just did a graveyard. I ain't gonna lie, but I'm still up. I'm Gucci. I'm getting close to my home. I just pulled over to chop it up with y'all. So much love to y'all, and I definitely got more live streams in store. I look forward to talking to y'all once again. And until next time, signing out. Much love, and thanks for stopping by.